Yo, what's up, guys? Uh, Woke up super early today, went to the gym, about to start my new job. Didn't think I'd be starting a new job at 29, but life doesn't always go the way you think. I wanted to talk about some of the things that I thought when I was a lot younger, and a lot of the things that I think now, looking back on it. Because, when you're young, and like let's say like you're in high school, right? Like you think 25 is something that's so far away. And it kind of is. I'm 29. 18 to 25 felt like a pretty long time, but it also didn't. And I think because a lot of life is pretty repetitive, too, I think you don't realize how some of the things that you do just kind of like feels like you're not really doing much. And I think that caused a lot of stress and anxiety in my life, is that a lot of it, and a lot more of it than I realized, was just accepting that being an ordinary person and being an adult is kind of just having your routine and having avenues throughout your day to accomplish everything you need to. It also just how underwhelming a lot of life is. When you're young, you think that you're going to be very successful, or you think that you're special, or you think that you're a lot more talented and smarter than you actually are. And you it's not that you're not talented or smart, it's just that it's very hard to find a path in life to actually use your talents. Because I think people are smarter and more talented than they allow themselves to be. But a lot of your intelligence is kind of wasted, because you don't really need most of it to live your day-to-day life. A lot of your talents are wasted because a lot of what you kind of have to do is just to show up to a place and do a thing. And that's really what most things are in life, is show up to a place and do a thing. And unless if you're a celebrity, you're not really going to care. That's weird. My hairline? No, that's just invisible right there. But I'm 29 now. I've been doing a weird experiment where I haven't really been looking at myself in the mirror after I quit my last job, because I didn't want to evaluate myself so strictly like I always did. And I wanted to kind of just relax and see what that felt like, and not really have the pressure of constantly making sure that I'm looking good. And before, I wasn't really brushing my hair, and I didn't really do that a lot beforehand, but I would just kind of gel it at least. And now that I have a cut hair and I have facial hair, I wasn't allowed to have facial hair. I almost don't recognize myself. And sometimes in my actions and my thoughts, I don't recognize myself too. I think you think things, and you have these realizations, especially in your 20s and maybe even your 30s, and maybe throughout your whole life. We say something and you're like, I never thought I would hear myself say that. But I was worried that leaving my last job was a terrible decision. And I have never been more sure about the fact that I just thought too strictly about myself than I am now. I don't remember. It's not that I don't remember. I remember all the mistakes that I made, but I don't really remember the consequences being as bad as I thought they were at the time, or it being as big of a deal as I thought it was at the time. And I don't really remember thinking, I don't really think of myself threw out a lot of my past experiences that I thought then, which was I was always really hard on myself, and I always hated myself for making mistakes, and I wanted to do everything perfectly. And ironically, wanting to do things perfectly just made it to where I didn't really do many things because I was scared to make mistakes. And I think there's a freedom in not caring about what people think about you. I think there's a freedom in looking at yourself as a person and kind of accepting it a little bit more. You know, understanding that there's changes that need to be made. There's things that you can still learn. There's still improvements, or I can still work out. I can stand and lose some weight. I can always get stronger. I need to take better care of my joints. I'm too addicted to these. I need to try to stop drinking them so much. I could use more water. You know, I could use more sleep. I sometimes overreact to a lot of problems because I don't know how to cope with normal life in the same way that other people do. But at the same time, like, there are things that I've learned about myself that other people wouldn't be able to say. A lot of people, even throughout my career, were very surprised when I told them that I've never been to college. They were very intimidated to speak with me sometimes because I guess because whenever a subject I was interested in would come up, I would want to talk about it, and because I was interested in it, I knew more about it than a lot of other people, or a lot of typical people. Not more than an expert, but more than like a usual person. And they didn't want to look stupid. And I realized a lot of people didn't want to look stupid around me. And I've learned that I did have a lot of leadership skills that people say that they embody and people say that they care about, but never really exhibit. And I have a way of understanding social situations and evaluating where situations go wrong, and talking with people in a way that a lot of people don't. I have a lot of things going for me that I now realize is atypical, and it's not just oh, that's a cool thing you can do. It's a potentially very useful tool. I just choose or don't think to use a lot of the time. And I think looking at myself, learning to look at yourself more honestly, what I've had to learn is not just being hard on yourself, not just telling you to grind more, not just telling you to like get out of bed and do more because you're not enough. You know, that's not the whole picture. It's also acknowledging your own talents and being able to do it to the point to where you learn how to apply them. And I think that's a part of maturing that a lot of people miss out on. I think there's not really a good balance in self-criticism or confidence. And I think people are either overly critical of themselves to where they're just anxiety ridden, or they're overly confident to the point to where they had these massive character flaws and they just never fucking work on them, and they're just kind of assholes. And so I guess today's thought would be to learn how to look at yourself more honestly and think about how you typically look at yourself and try to look at yourself in a different way so that you can understand different parts that you did not yet know. And then if you can do that enough, eventually I think that you'll come to find that you're a different person than you thought you were. And it may be better, it may be worse, but at least it's more honest.